All right, well, after years of debate, the Illinois Clean Slate Act has passed in Springfield, but it's up to the governor to decide if he wants to be in support of this legislation.
Peoria leaders believe if it does become law, it would help close the city's workforce gap. Angeles Pompa now spoke with city leaders and legislators about the potential impacts.
The legislation, sponsored by local representative Jahan Gordon Booth, will automatically seal or expunge certain criminal records. This means people won't have to petition the courts, a process that used to cost thousands in legal fees. Exceptions include sexual violence against minors, DUIs, and reckless driving. A local criminal defense lawyer says he regularly receives calls from clients seeking to seal or expunge their records. He says this new law will help his clients secure housing and jobs, removing the financial barrier.
The fact that this can be done automatically without having to hire a lawyer, come up with the funds to hire a lawyer or the funds to file a sealing or expungement petition, it has the power to be transformative.
The Greater Peoria Economic Development Council says this law will positively impact the local talent pool and help fill hard-to-fill jobs in the healthcare, IT, data, and warehouse roles. The city of Peoria anticipates a significant 22 to 25% wage gain for individuals who benefit from this new law. Officials believe this will boost local spending and increase tax revenues.
People are able to get more jobs. That means more dollars circulating in the community. That means more small businesses being able to service more people. That means families being able to put more and better food on the table.
Currently, 2.2 million Illinois residents qualify for record sealing or expungement. However, only about 10% go through the petition process. The Illinois Clean Slate Act is expected to be fully automatic by the year 2031. In Peoria, Angeles Pompa, 25 News.